before we went to break, we were talking about federal funds and the disparity between union and open shops.
Yeah, when the government released over 86 million in training funds, it was only open to union training centers only. That left out over 70% of the construction workers across this country. We've been lobbying hard for all workers to have equal access to all funding. The big achievement we were able to make was with the Ford government provincially, where he had a $120 million training fund that was open to everyone, and Merit was able to partake in that, and it's helped us build many programs, both on the health and safety side, technical and management training. We wouldn't be the same organization today if it wasn't for those funds.
That's a great win for you. Domenic, can you tell us about community benefit agreements? These have been recently included in unionized collective bargaining agreements to unionize projects. Your thoughts on this?
Community benefit agreements on the surface sound like a great idea. It's there to employ the underprivileged, those that are vulnerable in society. On the surface, it's a great concept, but it's how they've been put into practice that we don't agree with. And there's one specific example. It's most recent with the Ottawa Hospital, and they tagged collective bargaining agreements for union-only tendering to the community benefit agreements. And sometimes people get them mixed up. CBAs, which is this acronym for community benefit agreements, also get mixed up with collective bargaining agreements. So it's coincidental, but they actually form I would say a very creative way to unionize a project without calling it union. And that's one thing we're advocating. Community benefit agreements are okay. And I say that with caution because, as we all know, we're all struggling today to find people resources. And the more red tape we add to any project, it's going to make it even that much more challenging to execute. Where if these are mandatory agreements, even if collective bargaining is excluded, we have to be very cautious, because if you can't meet the CBAs, and sometimes we can't even meet those agreements today, regardless of the agreement, we can't even meet the demands for the people, to put people, there's more jobs today than there are people. And we're all fortunate enough to be busy. However, you add CBAs to this equation, you're just not going to get the jobs done.
You make a great point there. Let's shift gears and focus on the provincial government. I understand your current top issue is card-based certification. Could you tell us what this is and talk a little bit about it?
Card-based certification is basically remove the democratic right to vote. Historically, if an organization or a place of work wants to unionize, which they have every right to, there is a voting, a secret ballot vote that has to happen when at least 50+1% of the workforce signs a card saying they would like to be represented. And then it goes to a vote. Today in Ontario, all you need is 50%+1 card signed. And those cards can be signed by an employee that worked for a different organization. Those cards follow that employee for minimum 6 months. And if they're not dated, they can follow them forever. You can have an example where the labor board never closes. So you can have 3 workers for a company like mine, which is over 100. 3 could be working on a Saturday, and only if 2 of those workers have a card signed from previous employers, I could be filed for certification when none of my workers want it. And neither these cards that have been signed, they may not want it because they came from a different employer. So there's a lot of flaws to the system today. Card-based certification is just the title, but there's a lot that goes behind it that needs to be corrected. And Merit Ontario is working with our provincial government to help them to understand the nuances that need to be corrected. We're looking for fairness, we're looking for transparency, and we just want everybody to have a voice.